dominated the world have used money to rule it and have ruled it in their own interest. It looks at a world economic system that has no regard for the poor, that has no regard for the small nations, that has no regard for the poor of the small nations. And the policy is a dignified policy, is not a violent policy, is not a policy of guns. It's a very honorable policy, but it is a very clear policy. It is a policy that calls the poor of the world to stand together, to stand firm together, to struggle together, to struggle for change, to struggle for justice, to struggle through organization, to struggle through will, to struggle through determination, to struggle to build a new kind of world in which your children and mine will walk with more dignity, with better housing, with better opportunity, with better prices, with better response from the World Monetary System. That is the world to which I call you. That is the world for which I struggle, and no power will turn me back from that world. And comrades, if you go and walk with me, if you go and step with me, if you go and move with me, we're moving as warriors. We're moving in determination. We're moving to struggle. We're moving to change that world. No power will turn us back.
Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who you know?
But if change is what we really want to see, ladies and gentlemen, then we must rise up. We must unite. We must advocate. We cannot remain silent. Where are the young men, the young women, the men, the women, the boys, the girls who will put aside political divide and do what is best for Jamaica? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. Even our pledge, our national pledge, says before God and all mankind, we cannot see a better Jamaica unless we return to the foot of the cross. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity, and play our part.
If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
I said I'm happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his hand. Yes, mommy, I see you. Yes, the journey is almost over. Shut up. And the battle is nearly won. And I have a feeling. I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet to come. Slide of it. Over there, sir. Una ready to get up, no man. I feel mad in this place. Let's go. I am happy every day as I travel through this land. I've been mighty blessed by God, and I'm holding to his. Over there, sir. I said the journey's almost over. I know the battle is nearly won, and I have a feeling in my heart. The best is yet. Come on, sir. I said the best is yet to come. When I walk through heaven's gates, yeah, I said the first time I'll see Jesus, I can hardly wait. And he showed me to a man, son, and said, child, this is your home. And I have a feeling in my heart. You know this one? Listen, chop. Tell me who made the angels sing, and tell me who made the joy bells, and tell me who is the King of Kings. Nobody but mine. Come on, try go me. Well, yes, he made the world, he made the sea. Oh, fasten them together with his shaman. Under his control and under his command. Nobody but. Tell me who made the angels sing, or tell me who made the joy bells.
Oh, you know.
I want to hear the angels singing. I want to be in that number. I want to hear that trumpet song. We are now. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear archangel. What I want to hear when my name is called, I want to hear. Everybody know, I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. I want to hear. Watch out now. I want to see the angel marching. I want to be in that number. I want to hear. I want to hear that trumpet song. I want to hear archangel voice. I want to hear. God bless you now. I want to hear. When my name is called, I want to hear. Everybody do so. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be. Get something and wave it. Get something and wave it. Get something and. If I'm not living for Christ, then I cannot be happy. Walk out, Christian. Walk out, Christian. I only live my life to please. Send me rocking for the road and the star on my phone. I only live my life to please. Live up my life. Come on, man, wave that man. Everybody, so. Live up my life. Live for Jesus. Mrs. Silent Night. What a holy night. But Virgin Mother and Child, holy, so tender. Talk to me now. But sweetly, God bless you.
Comrades who are in jungle tonight, on a know that the word is love. Comrades, I come with a speech, but it's a different speech may I forgive tonight. But before I go into that, we have been saying all night that young people know say time come. And I want to bring up a young man who has looked for himself, him read for himself, him search for himself, and when him done, him realize that the only choice he could choose is the People's National Party. And I want to welcome Comrade Perry.
Hold on. We don't have much time. When I say time, you say come. Time? Senator Murray, somebody asked me, Perry, why aren't you a Labourite? Me ever fresh, me no green.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Who ya know? Underpants, Paulo. We the gal in the middle.
Hold on, cut in, man, hold on.
Me coulda never green.
Hold on, no DJ, man, hold on. I don't have much time. The next Prime Minister, let me shake your hand, so big up yourself, Mark Golding, Jensek, and brother, Dayton Campbell Doctor. Listen, in 1938, the People's National Party was formed out of the vision to help the poor people. It was born out of restlessness of the people seeking for better. And I believe that the People's National Party continues to be the answer for the people. Can I hear an amen? Hold on. In 1995, under the auspices of P.J. Patterson, the most honorable, there was a revitalization and an extension of the new National Youth Service Program, which gave young people the opportunity to earn commandment church. It gave people the opportunity to better themselves. I don't have much time, but hear what? I hear the other people them say, you must choose Jamaica, but you can't choose Jamaica without choosing the people. God bless you.
Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow. No. Ha, ho. Me coulda never green dog, me no chow-chow.
You have your flag, comrades.
Comrades, I want to let you know that young man is the former guild president at the University of the West Indies. That is the kind of young people that we attract in the People's National Party.
A corrupt government cannot liberate the people. If the head of the stream is corrupt, the entire river will be also. I do not support corruption. Corruption takes money away from children's education. It deprives hospitals of basic necessities. It means that roads are not fixed. Corruption deepens inequality. It siphons off taxpayers' money to make a few cronies richer with the political connections instead of benefiting the people. This government has been doing everything it can to weaken and undermine the Integrity Commission, which is an institution that I designed as Minister of Justice and brought the legislation to Parliament to fight corruption in this country. I have said it before and I will tell you again. Jamaica cannot move forward without a government built on integrity that embraces principles of good governance in this country.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. Telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal. Look where Jamaica come to. Them a rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place. No safe, it's a prime minister. Are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this is my perspective, telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all. It is Friday, the 6th of March. It is Friday the 6th of March, and we are giving the Lord thanks for a brand new evening, another opportunity to have some conversations, to share some perspectives. Wow, there's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot to talk about today. Yes, there is a lot to talk about today. But can we take an opportunity? Remember, guys, as you join us, like up the live. You know the drill by now. You know the drill by now. As you join, just like up the live, share. If you're here and you've not yet subscribed, please to do so right now. Ladies and gentlemen, let us take, if it is even a minute, just to give the Lord thanks. There's something to give the Lord thanks for.
To him, he
Ladies and gentlemen, let me know where you're viewing from. Let me know where you're viewing from this evening. There's a lot, quite a few things to touch on. Let me know where you're viewing today's program from. Are you from Jamaica? Celine, Browning, from East Portland, Manchinill, Trelawney, who again? Portmore, Andrea Burke, K-Man, Osea Phipps. Go on again, go on again. We're gonna dive right into it. We're not wasting any time. Princess Williams, Blessings, Brooklyn, New York. Virginia Southfield, Cardo from New York, New Jersey, Sharon King. Golf Club, Marlene Williams, Brooklyn, New York, Massachusetts. Yes, Florida, watching from Portmore, Canada again. Santa Cruz, St. Anne, Spanish Town, Georgia. Yes, yes. Who again? Brooklyn, New York. Yes, who else? North Carolina, Virginia. Mandeville is in the building. From the Bahamas. And when you're not going to invite me to the small islands them for come perform 2 gospel concerts. I don't understand you guys. Come on. St. Elizabeth, New Jersey. Somebody said they're eating pizza. What, Dana, you living life, man. You living life. St. Elizabeth, New Jersey, Delaware, watching from Mountain View. Blessings to you all. You know, I'm grateful for another evening. God is good. Charlestown, St. Anne, Queens, New York. Clarendon there. Bahamas again there. Yes, man. Blessings to each and every one of you. Today was a very interesting day. South St. Catherine, blessings. Very interesting day. The news was already broken, but let's break the news over here. Yeah, man, we're breaking the news over the perspective. "20 years and 10 months for Jolyan Silvera." Hope I got the pronunciation right. Former MP to spend at least 2 decades behind bars for killing his wife. Silvera will be getting 20 years and 10 months. Justice Sykes, I'm going to tell you my honest opinion. I watched the proceedings today, and a lot of persons were very impatient with Chief Justice. But for the most part, what I could appreciate was his clarity as to how he arrived at 20 years and 10 months. He walked us through the different technicalities. It took some time, but we eventually got to the sentencing, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see if I can break down in simple terms, right? In simple terms, what exactly took place today, right? But you guys can feel free to let me know what you think about the sentencing. You believe that Mr. Silvera should have received more years? Do you guys believe he did it? I'm just asking. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm going to be taking some calls. I'm pretty sure a lot of persons will have a lot to say about this. You know. But I want to, you know, it's a very interesting scenario, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what, I've always said this. People who are found in these types of positions you must face the law. I am not going to be like Laborites, who, when people who supported their political party, right, when they're wrong, Laborites don't want to say nothing at all. Listen, I've always said it. I don't care what political campaign you supported last year. I don't care what color you wore during the general elections. If you are guilty, then you must face the law. So the little that I understand, and I'm going based off of what in our common law would communicate. It's a matter of precedent. And I'm going to go through, because a lot of persons still don't understand what took place. Let me just do a quick summary. The Judge Brian Sykes, please to like up the live, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be having a very heavy discussion. The Judge Brian Sykes, Chief Justice of Jamaica, sentenced Silvera to 20 years and 10 months in prison for killing his wife, Melissa Silvera. But the judge gave two sentences: 20 years for manslaughter and 20 years and 10 months for using a firearm to commit the crime. Here's the interesting part. These sentences run at the same time. In other words, the term that we've been hearing since day was concurrently. Right? Therefore, he will serve 20 years and 10 months total, not 40 years. So I saw a media host running out today saying that Silvera is going to spend 40 years behind bars. That is not true. So we want to give the viewers factual information. When can he leave prison? He cannot apply for parole until he serves about 13 years in prison. I'm sharing with you, ladies and gentlemen, factual information based on the legalities surrounding this case. It's very important that we understand. So he will have to serve at least 13 years in prison before he can apply for parole. Earliest possible release is after 13 years, but the full sentence is 20 years and 10 months. We have to explain. Blessings to you, Maudlin Brown Butler. Blessings. Bogwalk is in the house. Power to the people. It is very important. It is very important, right, that we explain the technicalities that happened here. We have to explain some technicalities. Originally, Silvera was charged with murder, which normally leads to life in prison. Remember, that was the originality of the case. He was originally charged with murder, and we know once you're charged with murder, that should leave no doubt, right, that you should get life. But earlier this year, he pleaded guilty to manslaughter instead. And based on our legal system, ladies and gentlemen, when somebody pleads guilty to manslaughter, it results to a lesser charge. Let us stick up in right there. Here is the issue that a lot of persons are having. People are saying, well, Perry, if you look at the case, Does that mean that people can, because remember a lot of persons believe that Silvera murdered his wife. So you're telling me that to escape life in prison, if somebody commits murder, all they have to do is to plead guilty to manslaughter, and that automatically lessens the charge? So persons are saying the legal system needs to be revamped. Probably we need to revisit some of these technicalities. Again, I'm just sharing the facts. You can let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to let you hear from Peter Champagne. I'm going to let you hear from the DPP. We have some clips that I will share with you. But I would think, Paulette, that based on the expertise of Peter Champagne, it was very intentional that Silvera pleaded guilty to manslaughter. It had to be an intentional move. It had to be an intentional move. The prosecution accepted the plea. What does this mean? The case did not continue as a murder trial. It didn't continue as a murder trial. The judge only had to decide the punishment for manslaughter. This is what the judge said. The court said Silvera committed a deliberate act when he shot his wife, even though the charge was reduced to manslaughter. You understand what I'm saying? The case was really an interesting one, ladies and gentlemen, because guess what? A lot of persons and the Labourites, they love to run with this because he was a former member of parliament in the People's National Party. You had some very, rude and obnoxious Labourites who were trying to sully the name of the People's National Party, trying to make a correlation between what happened to Silvera with the People's National Party, and there is no connection. What is very sad though, ladies and gentlemen, is that the children were reported to have found their mother's body after the shooting. It's very, very concerning. But in simple terms, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to be dwelling on this, he admitted to killing his wife, manslaughter. The judge sentenced him to 20 years and 10 months in prison, and he must serve at least 13 years before he can try for parole. Right, and I'm getting some more information. A lot of persons are saying, ladies and gentlemen, that he should have spent more years. I'm just sharing with you the perspective of other persons. Some persons are saying, well, Perry, Silvera was originally charged with murder, which in Jamaica usually carries life imprisonment. However, the prosecution accepted his guilty plea to manslaughter, which is a less serious charge. Some persons are saying that, the fact that a person shot their spouse and caused their death, yet they accepted the manslaughter charge. People are upset about that. Even though the judge sentenced him to 20 years and 10 months, he can apply for parole after about 13 years. To many citizens, they are saying it feels too short for killing a spouse, and people were going on and on. People even tried to drag politics into this, saying that because he was a powerful political figure, some people believe that it was his influence and his access to better legal resources and preferential treatment. People went on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this. It is a very unfortunate situation. It's very unfortunate that a life was lost. I personally believe, and this is my view, I personally believe that if something is happening and you have a disagreement, I'm just going based on what was said from the party. If there was a disagreement, ladies and gentlemen, going off based on what was said, we must walk away. We must walk away from aggravations. We must walk away from conflicts. You understand what I'm saying? It is unfortunate that she lost her life. And you know what I'd like to encourage Jamaicans to do? Let us preserve life. Let us preserve life. Let us preserve life. I think it's very important that we hear from Mr. Champagne on the show. There was an interview that was done on the DPP. I'm gonna play those two things and we'll move on. It is laid to rest. Justice Sykes, Mr. Brian Sykes, did his job. I didn't necessarily have a problem with how he arrived at the sentencing per se. Not saying that I agree with the sentencing. I'm not saying that I don't. Right? I have nothing to say as relates to the sentencing. I'm just communicating the information. I see a lot of persons who are saying that it was taking too long, but I believe the Chief Justice had a responsibility to iron out every technicality to justify him arriving at 20 years, right, and 10 months. And I appreciated the thorough deliberations. Let us hear from Mr. Peter Champagne, one of the best, they say.
Good afternoon. 20 years for manslaughter after a guilty plea, after a long time, appealing coming?
That is not something that we have determined as yet, because when you look at it in the context of 20 years, remember that the calculation in terms of imprisonment, you serve 2/3 of that once you are on good behavior. So it may very well be a situation where in relation to the 20 years to which you refer, it may very well calculate to be about 13 years, consistent with the eligibility for parole in respect of the committing felony using a firearm, which is the recommendation that the Chief Justice said 13 years again of eligibility in terms of parole. So long and short of it, what we're looking at is really, in real terms, 13 years, provided that certain conditions are met. In the context of everything, I would not be quick to say Court of Appeal at all, and I want to use this opportunity to first of all thank Ms. Riley, who has been Ms. Patrice Riley, who assisted me in this matter. I want to thank the media, members of the public. The reception in terms of the live streaming was done with decorum, and there wasn't any outburst or anything like that. And I thought, all in all, what won today was the justice system and the Chief Justice explaining from the very start why it is that the provocation plea was accepted. And I'm also very happy, and I think it's very important to emphasize that these misinformation in terms of the deceased being shot in areas, which I would not want to mention, and the whole issue of history of abuse and the whole issue of cover-up, all of those things today were demonstrated to be false. The fact of the matter is that this case raises other issues in terms of, yes, domestic violence and how you treat it, and domestic violence not only in relation to women, but men as well, because it cuts both ways. You have instances where men are abused, and because of the conventional culture and wisdom, there is a reluctance for men to either leave a relationship or to make a formal report. I don't wish to speak ill of the dead, and I think her memory must be preserved, and we also have to bear in mind at the end of the day that the overriding consideration is one thing: the children. So I am not going to, we are not going to go into the nuts and bolts of who did what, when, how, and the circumstances. It's unfortunate, and I hope that this has brought closure and we can move on to heal.
Mr. Champagne, you said one thing, just want to clarify.
Yes.
You said cover up. Are you trying to say, or this is what you're saying, that there was no cover up in terms of concealing evidence, in terms of the room and stuff like that?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
You're saying that
what
never
happened? What I'm saying is this. The information there, yes, there was alteration that was done in relation to the bedroom, but that was done, what, 1 month after, 4 weeks after. And what was the alteration? Putting linoleum tiles, the plastic tiles, over the unfinished ground. It wasn't tiled before. And a chair was sprayed and a bed was sprayed 1 month after approaching Christmas, when persons would normally visit. Is that what you call cover up? I don't think so.
But the judge accepted that there was attempts.
What the judge, as I understood it, made reference to was in relation to the firearm and certain things that it is said that was done to the firearm. I can tell you now that the matter is at an end, that we had employed our own ballistic expert from overseas, and we don't necessarily share that view. So I would want to refute the issue of cover-up. And to be quite frank with you, it didn't really feature heavily in the case. I think what was referred to in terms of cover-up is the stance, and was the stance of Mr. Silvera immediately after, to say that certain things happened, and he gave a statement. We can't shy away from that he gave a statement not pointing to any culpability on his part. So if you want to use the word cover-up, that is a perspective or the direction that I would say, yes, you could say that that may have been the situation, but in the plain mitigation, it was demonstrated why. As to whether or not it was a reasonable excuse is another matter, but he gave a reason as to why.
What's your reaction to him lauding the FLA, the ballistic expert, and the pathologist as it relates to the process? And if they were not paying attention and not being diligent, we would not have been here today.
I can't disagree with that in all candor. I can't disagree. I think we have a tendency sometimes to bash our system in terms of the forensic and ballistic capabilities. We have come a far way, and in fact I saw that based on the comments that our own experts from overseas made. There was much commendation in terms of Mr. Bernard, that is the ballistics expert, forensic expert. So I can't say anything negative about that at all. I can't. But you will appreciate that given the political climate at the time, given all of the grand conspiracy at the time, given all of what was being said, the defense was obliged, in one sense, to test the veracity, certainly us, to test the veracity of the testings. It didn't mean that we were necessarily suggesting any untoward situation in relation to any expert. But, you know, as a defense counsel, you leave no stone unturned and you explore all options until your instructions to guide you otherwise.
And you were not strategic?
Or tactical? Tactical, based on what was said just now.
I think the only you see, one needs to make the distinction between an accused person and defense counsel. And defense counsel is guided by instructions,
yes.
Right? If there's any tactical attribution to us as counsel, it would be when, no, it didn't go there, but I'm just, responding to you fulsomely. It would be when we decided to give the plea. And that was occasioned by certain information that guided us in terms of the ballistic report.
One of the things that came out is that the manslaughter in terms of both.
Yes.
Where do you think we're going with that in?
I think that's a case where we need to examine that. I think the Chief Justice was spot on, because even in our own research, there was a paucity of authorities coming from our jurisdiction in relation to firearms and manslaughter, especially the licensed firearm. So yes, I think we need to have legislation, and in fact the Chief Justice did hint to that we need to look at that, and suggested that kind of rudimentary kind of formulation. That was not his purpose today, but I mean reference was made to that. So I think we need to revisit that. I also think that we need to revisit this whole concept of mandatory minimum sentence in relation to the Firearms Act. It still is, in my respectful view, very draconian, and I want to say one size doesn't fit all.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it from Mr. Peter Champagne. I hear persons in the chat making remarks about this speculative. I don't know for a fact if Mr. Champagne is a supporter of the JLP. If you have proof, you can WhatsApp me. But I don't want to get into the politics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the reality. I am going to be a very short clip for what the DPP said, and we're moving on. Yeah?
What do you make of, the case?
Well, I mean, each case turns on its own set of circumstances. I mean, we had to make decisions in this case based on consultations in the office. We had to make decisions based on the evidence, decisions based on who the witnesses are. So at the end of the day, the collaborative effort inside the office and our case for preparation led us to, one, accept the manslaughter plea and to put ourselves in a position to address the court and sentencing. So, I mean, at the end of the day, what we are saying is that justice is
20 years, 10 months. How close to justice for the family do you think the court took that?
Justice.
Justice, I agree.
Justice. The offense was manslaughter, and we got 20 years and 10 months. For murder, sometimes the sentence is just that, 20 years or even less. So, justice.
You feel 20 years, 10 months kind of take the public off your back, as it were, because a lot of people in the public were
I never felt like the public was on my back. My position is this. Most persons, when they hear manslaughter, they think of a motor vehicle accident and somebody has died. So education is what was required, is what is required. So I didn't feel as if the public was on my back at all. And I knew that when we got into court, and certainly when you were allowed into court, you would hear more. But no, I've never felt like the public was on my back.
What's one of the biggest misconceptions when you listen to that video?
Biggest misconceptions? Well, I don't know what it is that has been said out there much, I'm not on social media. I'm not listening to that. Well, we have a file, and we read and prepare the file. We look at the law, and this decision was made based on law. That's it.
The public felt that the prosecution could have tried to, fight this case and probably win.
But what do you mean by fight, though? Because that's exactly what we did. We made a decision. And so I want the public to appreciate that when you talk about going to a trial, you're talking about getting witnesses to come to court, to go into the witness box, and hopefully that they will say what it is they said in a statement some time ago, almost verbatim. We're talking about where this particular case is concerned, putting two little boys in the witness box to speak about what it is they're saying Daddy did in respect of Mommy. That is something that needs to be taken into consideration as well. So we look at the law, we look at the material we have, we look at getting the witnesses to come to court and basically for them to be consistent in terms of what they've said in their written statements. I think we made the right decision today. Where the law is concerned, where the statement that the accused man gave is concerned, it was glaringly obvious that there he had the partial defense of provocation.
Sad. The entire situation, very sad. Very sad. But hey, this is Jamaica. How many? I wonder if we'll see Mr. Ruel Reid facing the judge and the many other politicians who have been robbing up this country. I wonder if we'll see the others who are being investigated for illicit enrichment. What happened to the SSL case? Anybody hear anything about the SSL? I'm wondering if the SSL thing gone with the wind. I don't hear anything about the SSL case. I'm just asking. Mr. Reid has been trying to put a stop to his little situation, They have been trying to make a bid, a successful bid, to stop the processing of his own Waterloo. But ladies and gentlemen, my closing statement on this matter is simply this. This is my closing statement. And this is not necessarily being said towards the Silvera case. I want us to lift our reasoning now outside of the Silvera case. We spoke about it. We heard from Champagne. We heard from the DPP. The sentencing was made. Let us lift the reasoning out of that. We have an issue in Jamaica though when it comes to justice and equity. When you look at poor people, good night Yvonne Riley, one of the regulars. When we look at poor people, and I'm in no way, shape or form justifying wrong. I'm just pointing out a very clear problem that we have in Jamaica, which is classism. And the fact that you may have a greater chance of getting away with a whole lot if you're from a certain class in society. Again, let us lift the conversation out of the puddle of water where the Silvera case is concerned. If you are from a certain class in society, if you have a certain last name, if you hold a certain position in our country, if you have certain connections, if you are politically aligned, you have a greater chance of getting away with murder. Again, I'm not speaking towards the Silvera case. It is just coming up conveniently. The Lord will have to be on your side if you don't come from affluent backgrounds. The Lord will have to have mercy on you, and you better pray for grace. Because if you are not politically aligned, if you are not in a certain circle, you would have to pray, because the little man who gets caught up in unfortunate circumstances, probably something like this, can he afford a champagne? Olive Brown? You better pray you don't get in any criminality though. You better pray. You see, you don't have the luxury. Poor people, you all away are try and make it out the whole away. We're not gonna be poor forever, you know. Some of me are reason to all away. Ghetto youths, you better try hold and control your emotions. You better learn to control your emotions, because I cannot guarantee that under this legal system, if you should be the one to accidentally unalive somebody because you were aggravated or you were provoked. I'm just giving a perspective, ladies and gentlemen. My perspectives can be thought provoking. I am not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm just, as I'm led, I'm just saying something. To you young men who don't have no backative, who don't have no big lawyer friend, who don't have no big money, who don't have no politics, who don't never no MP, I'm just saying, you better walk away. You better know when to hold up. Know when to run, know when to run. You have to learn how to control your own emotions. Because you don't have the resources to afford champagne. You don't have the resources to pay for no top legal representation. And that is why I believe, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at organized crime, white collar crimes, a lot of these drug trafficking busts that they've been seeing, with the amount of weed and the amount of coke that they're finding, it's not no small man doing these things. It's not no small man doing these things. If you should check, if story should come to bump, the amount of politicians and CEOs who are involved in a lot of the corruption in this land, you would be surprised. So I'm ending, and Leachin said something about it too. He spoke about the corruption at that level, white collar crimes. So I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, to the poor, to the lower and middle class, know your reach. And that's why I tell people, it doesn't matter where you come from, flee from the very appearance of evil. Walk away, because you don't have no links. You don't have no big legal representation. Dog, nyam your supper, your breakfast, and your lunch. Because in Jamaica, there is a notion that is the reality. And I've spoken about this several times. We live on an animal farm. It's not, we're not speculating. It's the truth. We live on an animal farm, and many of these politicians, CEOs, many of these people in high society, the elites, the oligarchs, they have written for themselves rules, and they have given themselves the power to change these rules to favor themselves and their families and their friends. So just like Napoleon and the other pigs, there was a rule, ladies and gentlemen, one fundamental rule that held the farm together was that all animals were made equal. But as soon as the pigs, good night, Vasha, good night everybody who are just coming on, remember to like, share and subscribe. What happened, ladies and gentlemen, as the pigs started to get exposed to the power, remember the story by Orwell. The pigs started to break the laws. They started to wear human clothes. They started to drink alcohol. They started to walk on two legs. They started to do what was contrary to the law of the farm. But what did they do? They changed the laws to suit them. So it wasn't all animals are made equal. What started to happen, ladies and gentlemen, is that all animals are made equal, but some more equal than others. At the latter part of the story, which sent a very chilling rush across my body the first time I read the story when I was much younger, is that when the dog and the other animals, the sheep and everybody else, went and looked through the window of the house that was on the farm, when they saw the pigs, they could not tell if they were pigs or humans, because they became so compromised, sleeping in beds, Miss Curiosity Kid, which was also against the law. When they looked through the windows, the pigs looked so much like humans, they couldn't tell them apart. That is the Jamaica that we have today. And that's my statement on that. Let us take our first break. We come back and we share some more perspectives. Like, comment, and share, guys. Soon come.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Big up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. Telling you my perspective. This is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal. Look where Jamaica come to. Them rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place. Now see if it's a prime minister. Are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this are my perspective.
And Pro Therapy, we are here to help you to bring ultimate relaxation to your feet. Our hot stone, Swedish, and deep tissue massage services are here to help you to get rid of tensions, minor swellings, and aches and pain, increase flexibility and circulation. If you are having any heart or circulatory diseases, then this might not be for you. Reach out to us and let's see if you can secure yourself with a foot massage for as low as $4,500. Thank you for choosing Pearl Therapy, the healing hub. Food is designed to be felt, not just tasted. Soft warmth, gentle richness, a harmony that melts effortlessly on the tongue. At Cummings Exquisite Caterers, every dish is an invitation, guided by passion, finished with elegance. We cater for life's most meaningful moments, elegant weddings, private celebrations, and much more. With a serene repast center, just 10 minutes away from two major cemeteries. We are located at 38 Dublin Spanish Town Road. Reach out to us, 876-573-9124. Cummings Exquisite Caterers.
First of all, I think the Prime Minister repeated innuendo or direct attack which has been leveled by his party on my nationality. And, you know, I just wanted to just make it absolutely clear that I am indeed born here as a Jamaican. Here is my birth certificate, and it shows I was born at the University Hospital on July 19th, 1965, and it's right here. I hope your camera can pick it up. And I have a copy for you, Prime Minister, right here. And I wish you could provide me with a copy of your certification, but of course you can't do so.
Welcome back. Yes, Mr. Mark Golding. My God. What? You know, Jamaica has fallen from grace, you know. Jamaica has accepted anything, and we call it leadership. Every time I see that clip, I say to myself, Jamaica stands for nothing anymore. There was a time when Jamaica stood for something. There was a time when Jamaica was built on integrity, but we have fallen so far. Can you imagine? The Prime Minister. I still cannot get over it, Cersei. The Prime Minister. We have a Prime Minister whose statutory declarations are not, it cannot be certified. Something is severely wrong. Proof that the JLP campaign was built on lies as they tried to demonize the character of Mr. Mark Golding. And even when it was proven, yeah, your liberator talk about how you know say it a fame birth certificate. You're telling me that nobody wouldn't try to make sure that what Mr. Golding produced on the night was true. I'm pretty sure that if it was false documents, we would know by now. And not one Labourite can come out and show us otherwise, that what Mr. Mark Golding showed on the night was incorrect. I'm pretty sure the documents are at the Registrar General's department. I'm pretty sure there are records at the University Hospital that can also further confirm what Mr. Golden said. And with all of that, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine? People voted for an uncertified politician and he is now the prime minister. Very sad. I thought I'd just include that. Very, very sad. What is also sad, ladies and gentlemen, again, another touchy topic, but sad. Life lost. Westmoreland burned victim dies while undergoing treatment. You remember that young lady that apparently she went to the gas station to, you know, I'm being told she was the aggressor and the aggressor for some time, but the lady had a lighter on her and she light the lady a fire, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're hearing that she succumbed to those injuries. Very sad, very sad. I don't know what will happen now, because a lot of persons will what will the verdict be? Donna say, I hope them not charge the girl. Well, let us see how they will treat this case. It's a very sad. Jamaica is so sad. Very sad. Very sad. But Ricardo, I'm expecting her to be held accountable, because the only thing she can do is plea manslaughter. Manslaughter. That she can say, well, I was attacked and I defended myself. I defended myself. Her aim wasn't to kill her, but she tried to defend herself. The other argument could be, well, is that how you defend yourself? By lighting somebody on fire? It is sad on both sides, Paulette. Sad on both sides. Positive vibes, yes. Her defense will listen. It's provocation. It's provocation. Listen, this is going to be a very interesting one. I want to see what will happen. But it is sad. Another life gone. And just as I've said before, when this thing first surfaced, I'm going to say it again. Ladies and gentlemen, bullying is wrong. Stop. Stop bullying people. Stop pushing badness. Today for me, tomorrow for you. You are there bullying people and troubling people. You don't know when that person is going to say, listen, enough is enough, and them head cheap. But see, somebody said her reaction was too aggressive. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a touchy case. It's a touchy case, because persons are going to say, good night, Maxine Cummings, my cousin. I saw me have to call him my cousin, because me and you share the last name. But it is very sad, ladies and gentlemen. Very sad. I wonder if she will get champagne. I wonder. But it's a sad day in Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. Sad, 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 sad. Sad, 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 sad. My God. Sad. That I was told that I was told in the I am going to hear exactly what they say, but it is sad. 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 You can't push. Listen to, no matter how bad you feel you be. And the person who retaliates may not necessarily be bad, you know. They may not necessarily be bad either, you know. But no matter how bad you be, you know, make out a steel. You know, make out a stone. You understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? No matter how bad you feel you be, if somebody catch you off guard, you can lose your 3 points. You understand what I'm saying? So, this sad. It's sad, sad, sad. Very, 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 very sad. I want to see how this will be treated. I want to see, and I want to touch on that point as well. You know, I want, and then Shanika, you're right. Somebody could argue and say, well, what should the pump attendant do? Should she stand there and let somebody kill her? Interesting. Very interesting. Somebody saying that the sister was charged. Listen to what I'm saying. With a good lawyer, she could probably walk free. She can walk free. Very interesting though. I want to make this point though. You know what we need as a country? And that's the reason why, people can say anything, Say what you can say all the night. Listen, I love my country. I love my country. But you see, unlike many others, I will not try to pretty up a conversation because of politics. I'm not trying to make anybody look good. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that Jamaica has become worse off over the past 10 years. Jamaica has become worse off. There is no love in our country. People can try to market Jamaica as the best, country in the Caribbean. I believe Jamaica is a special place. But there's situations like these and other situations that I want to talk about too. It goes to show that Jamaica is not on a good path. We're seeing corruption in this country. We're seeing people getting away with it. I see a lot of things where a lot of persons in this nation, they're trying to silence the voices. You understand? And all of these things. God bless you, Rosa Bogle. Jamaica is not on a good path. It's not on a good path. I'm hearing in the chat that she only put the petrol on her, but the lady was smoking. Listen, I'm going to get the details and we can probably touch on it again. I'm hearing that, I am hearing several things. I hear somebody say the pump attendant had a lighter. People can say also. I heard that somebody say the pump attendant had a lighter. Now I'm hearing that the lady was smoking. All she did was to put the gas on her, but then somebody saying it was gas with acid. Listen, the point is very sad, very unfortunate. Very sad, very unfortunate. Jamaica, we can do better than this. We can do better, but then it's the people make up Jamaica, Hyacinth. Jamaica is not Jamaica if it's just a body of, if it's just a mass of land. It's the people. We are the ones who make Jamaica Jamaica. So when I say Jamaica is in trouble, it's the people. And I'm saying this. Jamaica cannot be in a good place. We can do better, Rodney Johnson. That's what I'm trying to communicate to my viewers and for the thousands of people who will see this over the years. I want this to be echoed. I want this to be echoed. Jamaica, we can do better. We can live in love and unity. We can settle differences in a better way. We can show love. I don't have to be related to you. I don't have to be your friend for me to show you kindness. Lorna Marriott, I believe that we can do better. But we have developed a culture over the years of bad manism and so much so that it has become a staple characteristic of Jamaicans. Anywhere you go in the world, you know, people tend to be afraid of Jamaicans. It is because of what we have adopted and what we've hugged up. And people out here, they will live out the perception. So if you diss me have to kill you. And that is it. Badness for badness. My God. Is this a God-fearing country? With the most, and I believe you should ask these people, all of these people who are committing crimes and fighting and doing all that, if you should ask any of them, they're going to tell you that they were brought up in church. They're going to tell you that they were brought up in church, Sabbath church, Sunday school. Jamaica under God must increase in beauty. Jamaica has become an ugly place. Both in our actions, in our speech, in our governance. It is ugly. Jamaica has become unrecognizable. When I saw how the father of the Ochorio student, how I have to pray that he doesn't go insane. For those who didn't know, there was an altercation between two students the other day. One used a chair and bashed in the skull of another student. He died. The entire community, the entire Ocherios High School is mourning because what? Two kids got into an altercation. And one of the proofs of them better than the other one. So one draw for your chair. Do you know how hard you have to hit somebody in the head with a chair for their head to be bashed in to the point where they die? Listen to how the father reacted to all of this. My heart goes out for him. I pray he doesn't end up insane, because these things, you know.
Why me? God, why me? What in life? God, let this happen to me. Wow.
Tell me about your son, sir.
One of the best. One of the best. I have a problem. I just see man in phone, game, school, that of him. Me him talk him and tell me, say, boy, deal for you. Like if I have some guys say, I talk to my daddy, and tell me let's school, you know. What a good job you have here, my mother and my sister, you know. Take them out of the country and tell them I light. Jesus Christ.
What was the relationship with him like?
Best. Best. Yeah, best. I don't know what to tell them about like best. I'm tell you, I love all of my kids, but boy, this one I come like, I'm in life.
So,
quiet.
Tell me how you heard about the...
I work with them. The power up on my scaffold, I work, and me call me and tell me in the hospital, I jump up on the scaffold. Jump up on the scaffold. And I come and tell me, say, boy, I call the teacher, she tell me that they can't tell me what happen. I have to come up at school and to the hospital, and that me say, I'm dead in the hospital. Dead. Oh, God. Oh, my Father. Oh, God.
No. Go easy. Go easy. Somebody like that, man. Somebody like stay, man. Go easy, man.
Listen to what I'm going to say now. Parents, you know, you see these things, you just have to, just like that, Just like that. You better pray over your children, you know. Listen, you can send a good picnic to school. I'm hearing that I don't know the family. But based on what I heard, this young man was a prospective sprinter. Heard that he had talent. Listen, you don't get picnic now for bad. You can send your good picnic to school, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't cover your children and your grandchildren, and some of your grandparents, no better pray for your children out here and your grandkids. Because you can send your picnic to school, and you know kids will get into altercation. Probably look pushing and look shoving. I don't think that the student who used the chair to hit him in the eye, I don't think in it. But there's some these days that you can't even tell, because their hearts have become so dark and evil. And many of our children, I kill them, I kill you. They might tell us say I murder them, I murder you. So I can't even give some of these students the benefit of the doubt. You know what I was about to say? I was about to say probably the student didn't have the intention of killing him. But the days that we are seeing today, it is so sad. I can't even give anybody the benefit of the doubt anymore. Because if you check some of the songs that these young men are listening to, them are going to kill this and them are going to stab up you and them are going to shoot you and kill your mother and do all of that. You don't even know where a young man's headspace is today. So I can't even try and give anybody the benefit. You better pray over your kids. Pray over your children. Cover them under the blood. When you send them out, say, God, cover them, because them no must have do nothing bad. You step on somebody toe, the boy feel like you diss him, you step on him clocks. Man want body up, and then if a student now try push badness to you, right? And you feel like you know want look like a soft soap, and a little ego now you go push back. Student, somebody's picnic come from some homes where all them know are crime and violence and murder. Then the one now we feel like him better than you, take out something, stab you, that the picnic they dead. I remember in high school, before I got popular in high school, I remember when I was in a lower grade, I've never told my parents this. I don't think it probably just my best friends remembered this. When I was in grade 8 and I went to the Jonathan Grant High School, those days Jonathan Grant was a bad school, and I like now when Jonathan Grant I win Campion, I win Arden, I win Cornwall College in the school challenge quiz. But when I started Jonathan Grant in the heart of Spanish Town, a badness. And I remember when I was in grade 8 and this youth was in grade 11. I don't know what, I think it's the same step on shoes, you know. I stepped on his shoes, ladies and gentlemen, as a baby in high school. I know so the youth did box me. Now that I remember it. The youth did box me, you know. The youth box me, ladies and gentlemen. And my friend, one of my best friends, at the time said, Perry, you really gonna make him box you? Me there. Box him back. I walked away. Me grew up in a one Christian home, and at the time, you know, me did very much in a Christ. And I like when me get up in my teens and me know street more, and I me have certain friends. At those time, picnic in a church, I walked away. Who to tell if I reacted right there and then, what would have been the outcome? My friend a boost me and say, me feel lick him back. Me there for defend you. You don't know. I walked away. But I can tell you this. He couldn't try that when I touched grade 9, grade 10. Because by the time I touched grade 9 and grade 10, I was a household name in the school, where I had the backative of principal, teacher, and everybody. From that, nobody has ever tried to cross my path again. Much more now, I don't think nobody would ever try that now. The point that I'm making, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you have to walk away. I am appealing to the children. Pardon me for sticking on this point a little bit. But for the parents, talk to no young boy them. Don't boost them up and send them to school and full up them head as if them are no bad pitney. All if you come from a home where you know so you don't have links. How long will links take for reach a high school? When your son, when your daughter push badness, how long before the link reach? You think it takes nothing for somebody to stop somebody? You can dead right there on the spot. So don't get involved in the badness pushing and those things are not going to help. Do you understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? It is sad. Hold on. This might be serious. It was my mother calling. I'm not sure what the problem was. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you, it is sad. It is sad. It is sad. Sad, sad, sad. Very, very sad, ladies and gentlemen. I'm also hearing that the lady that drowned the child is being held by authority. Let's just listen quickly what the updates are regarding this case. Very sad. Talk to your children, ladies and gentlemen. Pray over your children. Cover them under the blood. Tell them to walk away from animosity. Some of these children, some of these students are coming from the den of Satan. A lot of these homes, they have no love. And the parents are telling their children to go and be bad. And some of these kids, the only thing that they are exposed to is badness, crime and violence. Send your children go to school and tell them to come right back home sometimes. Not tell them to have no one bag of friend. Better them say you're a coward. Hold on. It was my... Hold on. And you know, my mother was just reminding me of another incident when we were in a taxi, and my mother and I, we were in the taxi, and this other student from a different school, a young lady, she came into the car, right? She came into the car, and the car was packed. You know the taxi men, how they operate. And I think my hand was resting on her or something to that nature. And I think it wasn't at a morning, day just light. I think we were heading to school, everybody heading to school and work or whatever the case is. And the girl was so contentious. Flash off me hand. She probably not even did know that my mother was in the car. Probably she not even know that my mother was beside me. Right? She probably didn't even know. She probably didn't even know. But she was such a bully. And my mother just put her hand around me and bring me over. And that was it. She said, don't pay that any mind. And she reminded me, that's the reason why she was calling me to remind me, that she said, remember when I told you the journey was too short to retaliate? And I want to share that too. The journey, ladies and gentlemen, is too short to retaliate. And it could have very well be that she and the driver, because this is some of these girls, you see these young girls, some of them, the reason why them go answer in a public vehicle because them and the taxi driver them in a things. A lot of them behave. You see how some of these young girls operate these days? A lot of the reasons why they operate like that is because them feel like them have them bucketive and them are going to them man vehicle. So they can bother people and talk and go on with all of these things. My mother tell me, say, the journey is too short to retaliate. A lot of these young people who bully people and go on all of that, check where they are today. Now, wish not bad for nobody. But you see the life that you live, I'm telling you. So I'm again appealing, blessings bowler in the chat. I'm appealing to the parents and I'm appealing to the children. It is best to be called a coward than to die a brave man. Let me say it again. It is best to be called a coward and live than to be called a brave man and die. Young men, you have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove. Walk away. I had to walk away from a lot of things in the and that's probably one of the reasons why I'm still around as a young man. One, I was brought up in a good home. Family has a lot to play with, ladies and gentlemen. But if it's one thing, I was never brought up to be an aggressor. Not that I'm a pushover. Not that I'm a pushover. I've fought before. But it wasn't in my nature. I wasn't grown. I wasn't brought up to push no badness upon anybody. I have a future that I want to live out. I have impact and I want to do things in life and be a good contribution to society. So I'm not going to be like some of these young men and go upon the corner and get involved in another badness to prove what to who. And when them shot you, kill, nobody don't remember you. Because it's just another day in Jamaica, you know. In the next couple of weeks, nobody's not even going to remember about the girl that died. You see how Jesus operated? You see how even the songwriter said he could have called 10,000 angels. Auntie Shanika remind me, say me have my child Philip. Of course. He could have called 10,000 angels. Them beat him, go, them beat him, come, them spit upon him, them pierce, they do all sort of things. Humble yourself. Let us listen to what is becoming of the situation with the mother who, wow, this is such a sad. This mother unalived her own child, ladies and gentlemen. It's been said that there are some mental issues. The baby was found in a water bucket. Hey, me I tell you, this is a sad season.
News update now. The police say the mentally ill woman in Manchester who fled after she allegedly drowned her 2-month-old son in a bucket of water is in hospital and receiving treatment. Acting commander for the Manchester Division, Deputy Superintendent of Police, Luhas Daniel, says she was picked up by a team from the Mental Health Department in Mandeville on Tuesday.
Further investigation revealed that the mother of the child is an outpatient at the mental health clinic at the Percy Jr. Hospital. She was picked up by members of the Manchester Mental Health Department and transported to the Percy Jr. Hospital, where she is currently restrained, being treated and undergoing observation. Investigation continues.
And speaking to our news team on Tuesday after the incident, the family of the deceased baby explained that the mother has been experiencing episodes, or has rather experienced episodes in the past.
Sometimes in the Monday, sometimes in the Spal, in the Christina. Sometimes see him for weeks. Sometimes when in taxi man don't see her on the road, carry her in the burning house already, And boy, I tell my son, say, boy, better I make him go on, But him say he love her, So I live with that.
Still to come this evening, St. Catherine Parish Court being tested as traffic ticket day to go late into Wednesday night. And in business news, we'll tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's sad. It's sad. They're saying that she showed tendencies of being mentally challenged. It's very sad, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be taking some calls now. Let me just touch on this and then we take some calls. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is saying that the United States of America did not influence Jamaica's decision to end Cuban medical program. You are an incompetent minister. Minister of Foreign Affairs, you are an incompetent minister. You should step down. You should leave the ministry. You have no weight in the realms of diplomacy and international relations. You don't have a respected voice. We're going to come and talk about the US did not influence Jamaica. And the United States is commending Jamaica right now. The United States is satisfied and they're happy with the decision made. What do you mean by Jamaica didn't, US didn't, you are all puppets on strings. As soon as the United States said jump, una ask how high. You are incompetent minister, you don't have a clue how to represent the interests of the Jamaican citizens. When our students in Cuba crying out and asking for the Jamaican government to intervene and assist them, you all knew from the get-go that you were never going to support Cuba. As a matter of fact, you all knew that you were going to end the relationship at that level. And that's why you were all silent. You've sold out this country. You've sold out the people of this nation. Talking about the United States didn't influence. So what influenced the decision? So what influenced the decision? You all should be ashamed. This is the worst administration that I've ever witnessed. Can you imagine a relationship like that? And you see, yesterday, Dr. Dawes was pressuring Tufton, pressuring Tufton and asking him what next, because with all that is happening with Cuba, what is going to happen next? And they had nothing to say. All they were doing is to hopscotch and skipping around. Till all Dr. Dawes had to tell the Minister of Local Government to go home and take care of his grandchildren. This is true. Here you are, a shame and a disgrace. A long time in hear from head boy. Might as well me just open the call line now because he's calling. Yes. Blessings, head boy.
Brother, you pulled me out my corner, right?
Yeah, but come on, man. Talk in here. What happened?
No, this sycophant, right? This delusional woman who for the last 11 years has occupied him and actually has been, I wouldn't even say occupied, right? She has actually found herself in the office of Minister of Foreign Affairs without even having the first clue what Foreign Affairs is.
My God.
No, she was at the CARICOM summit last week, I was told. Yeah? And now look at how hypocritical they are. Andrew comes to tell the CARICOM leaders that he's going to now offer humanitarian support to Cuba. How could you send back these people to a place where there's no electricity?
Exactly.
How could you send back these people to a place where food supplies is rationed, garbage is on the road, right? This is the heartless, wicked, uncaring woman. You see how she look?
Right.
She does not know the suffering of ordinary individual. Her husband who owns an asphalt company in Jamaica, asphalt from St. James goes straight to Kingston. Yeah? They don't know what suffering is. Right? And you're telling me, so who influenced her to make the decision? Liar. She's a liar. She is a liar, and she should resign over this statement because it's a clear she has lied to the country.
Of course.
Now, when you look at it, and you really look at this woman and to see how this woman is devious. She was just at the CARICOM summit smiling with the ministers in CARICOM, telling them how they're going to lead the charge. Guyana has worked out a creative way to deal with the issues surrounding the Cubans. And what have Guyana done? Guyana said that having the payment going to Cuban government, they will pay the doctors themselves, which is a very good workaround.
Yes.
Why couldn't we do that? But I tell you why we can't do it, and I keep on saying it. The United States of America has a file on the entire cabinet of Andrew Wallace.
My God. A dossier. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Hold on. Somebody, if they... Let me call back. Head boy. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the Andrew Holness administration is going to tell us that the United States did not impact their decision? So who did? Who did? I cannot believe she goes already. Yes, go ahead, boy.
Sorry about that. You hear me much better now?
Yeah, man.
Right. Now I'm saying, because I'm saying, this is a clear indication that it's the United States who run in Jamaica. No, how could you? And I look at the hypocrisy. You're going to now recruit doctors from Ghana, Nigeria, Philippines, and some other countries. You know where they were trained? Those doctors are recruiting? Cuba. C-U-B-A. Yeah? So the issue cannot be with the Cuban Brigade or medical program. The issue has to be with the fact that the Americans tell them no, they're trying to tie it to Cuba right now, The Americans say you can sell Cuba oil. If you set up a company and buy oil from Venezuela, and you have a private company in Cuba, you can sell them the oil. But you can't tell the Cuban government what kind of nonsense is that?
Doesn't make any sense.
They're trying to kill Cuba. And you notice what the president of America said? Well, not even the president. The megalomaniac crazy guy in Washington said today that after them finish with Iran, Cuba is next. But I want to tell Donald Trump and his megalomania, if you think Cuba, invade Cuba and think, you think Cuba is Venezuela? You cannot attack a country 90 miles off your border, sir. You would be an idiot. Yeah? You would be an idiot. That's all I have to say, brother.
The blessings, head boy. My God. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? Cuba is next on the agenda. That is what Trump is saying. Can you imagine now? What is really happening here? So am I to believe that the President of the United States is going to just go around and do what? Cuba is next. Well, you hear head boy say that Cuba is not Venezuela. I wonder what will be happening, and this is what is going to be happening in our Caribbean. If you think you can run from this, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you. I wonder if Jamaica will be next. Turn me down in the background, caller. Turn me off. Yeah, turn off the TV completely. Turn it off and call back, caller. Guys, when you call, please turn off every other device when you call. Please. It brings a feedback. I wonder if Jamaica would be next. Huh? I wonder if Jamaica is next. But ladies and gentlemen, it is very sad what we are seeing. And you know what is very concerning though, you know, I don't think a lot of persons understand what will be happening to Jamaica. We have lost a very significant part of our help in the health sector. Remember that the specialists from Cuba, one very interesting finding is that the Cuban doctors, many of them were willing to actually work in some of those conditions that many of our local doctors and nurses weren't willing to work in, for lower wages too. Cheap labor, but doing a quality work that many of our local specialists weren't able to do. Now, I am simply asking the Minister of Health this one question. It's only one question that I'm asking you. I won't tell you to I'm just asking you one question. How will you fill the gap? Because it is much more expensive to get specialists and doctors from other places. I hear you mention India in the standing finance committee meeting yesterday, Mr. Tufton. And I've heard you mentioning outsourcing to other places, from other places. Will you be able to cover those costs? Ghana, and are you able to meet those demands? And will we get value for the money? That is what I am asking. You understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? But the United States has always been a bully. Always been a bully. And we warned the administration. We said, be very careful. Be very careful as to how you play this game of diplomatic relationships and how you interact with states. Now I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, with all that is happening in our country, with all that is happening right across the different ministries, remember the ministers, they don't have a clue as to how is it that they should operate. They don't have a good idea as to how much money they would need to spend. It is just somebody calling from Aruba. What you're saying? A lot of people don't understand what vision this administration has for Jamaica. And now it is quite clear as to who run this country. Are we truly independent? Are we truly independent as a country? When you see that Jamaica can't even make a stance to say that they support Cuba and that they're willing to do what is it. Jamaica is not an independent. Now you see who runs this country. Now you all see who runs Jamaica. Now you see who is the president of Jamaica. Now you see who is running this administration. What sovereignty do we have? What sovereignty do we have as a country? We boast about our black, green and our gold. Be proud about your country. But now you see very clearly who runs this nation. And the fact that the minister had to come out and make a statement that the United States did not influence Jamaica's decision tells you very clearly that all that they're trying to do is damage control. Here's what Cuba is saying. Cuba says, alright, I'm going to show now. Cuba done with Jamaica, you know? Cuba is finished with Jamaica. I told you guys that this was going to happen. I told you guys to not be surprised that Cuba is going to turn their backs on Jamaica, and when they do, nobody should say anything. We can't fault them. You hear what Cuba say? Cuba says that Jamaica has yielded to US pressure. Talk up, Cuba. Beat this administration, Cuba. Beat them. Cuba says it will withdraw its 277 medical professionals currently serving in Jamaica, a blow to the island which sought to cushion the fallout from ending a 50-year cooperation program that helped fill key gaps in the health system. Cuba also claims that Jamaica bowed to pressure from the United States to terminate the program. Beat them, Cuba! I feel like this is breaking news. What do you mean? Beat them, Cuba. What do you mean? Talk up, Cuba. What do you mean? Of course. Ball out, Cuba. Me no business. Cry out, Cuba. It's true. So you see, yesterday, Minister Tufton was telling you, hear what he told Dr. Dawes. I wish I could, you know, sir, we're going to finish up this tomorrow. Yesterday in the Standing Finance Committee, when Dr. Dawes made his opening statement about the concerns of the Cuban-Jamaican relationship, you know what the minister said? That the opening remarks of Dr. Dawes was incorrect, because we still have medical professions from Cuba in Jamaica. So Dr. Dawes is wrong to open his statement. We still have Cuban doctors. Well, Mr. Tufton, the Cuban government will withdraw 277 medical professionals currently serving in Jamaica. What will you do to fill that gap? What will you do to fill that gap? So since you were boasting yesterday talking about Dr. Dawes' opening statement was wrong, you don't still have doctors. Well, see Cuba come tell you know what time it is. We talk about 1 p.m. Well, here is the time. Here is the time. You don't feel like a joke thing Cuba depon? You think that Cuba will not remember these things? Me said this government has destroyed. Cuba says Jamaica yielded to US pressure, and they will withdraw 277 medical workers, because that is what Christopher Tufton was saying yesterday, that doctors are still in Jamaica. That doctors are still in Jamaica. And we ended the 50-year relationship with the government of Cuba, not with the doctors. And there will be deliberations with the doctors and all of that. Well, Mr. PR boss, seeing that the Cuban government will be taking them 277 doctors out of your country, please to come to the front of the line and tell the well-thinking Jamaicans, how will we fill these gaps when you already have tarnished the reputation, if there were any, under the Minister of Health? Good night, caller.
Good night, Mr. Perry. It seems like Jamaica, I don't want the president to eat Jamaica. Mighty God of Daniel, only go man it. I am out of the country, but I'm concerned about my country, and Cuba is just next door to we. You understand? So please, I have been praying, so many things happening. But Mr. Perry, God bless you and thank you so much. And thank you for the voice. Okay, around the world. God bless you.
Love you. Blessings, blessings. Because the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, Minister Tufton has no clue how international relations work. So he sees the government of Jamaica ending a 50-year-old relationship with the medical program and don't think that the Cuban government wouldn't take an offense to that? You don't think that they would have pulled their doctors out? They felt disrespected? No loyalty. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, Mr. Perry, good evening.
Good evening, yes.
My grandfather has family in Cuba from Batista days. And we recently met them online on Facebook. And let me tell you something, what happened to the students that we have over there? Are they just going to leave them there to suffer? Because we have Jamaican students over there.
Yes.
In training. She forgot about them. How are they going to get home?
Call, you still here with us?
Yes, I want to know how are they going to come back to Jamaica?
This government does not care, caller. They don't care about them.
Boy, I tell you something. Boy, they can't exit out they can't exit out fast enough for me. Because Cuba, I went to Guantanamo Bay when I was 18. And the guy from Customs came looking for my cousin because she had the same last name. And I told him that she went shopping. He took me to the fence and he showed me the houses where they lived in. You understand? So we do have family that were fishermen that went on the boat and ended up in Cuba. Many years ago, before Castro. We do have family over there. I'm just sad. A lot of people don't even know if they have family over there, but I know because I was there on the American side.
Yes.
And the guy came and showed me. And he gave me the names, and they had the same repeated first name and last name as my cousin. Because that was my mother's maiden name, and that was my grandfather's name.
Okay.
You know, I don't know what you're gonna do about these people. They can't leave the House of Parliament fast enough. Not fast enough. I can't wait for them to leave.
They will have to go.
Out of power. I will not come back to Jamaica unless Andrew Onis and Juliet Onis is no longer there.
My God.
All of them need to go. All of them. Well, she's another piece of work. Oh my God, I hate hearing. That woman give me a headache.
My God.
I hear her talk. I'm like, what the? They always come unprepared. Every one of them is unprepared for Parliament. Unprepared. Want to pack up? I don't know. They need to pack up and go.
In due time, call. I'm gonna take some more calls. All right.
Okay. Good night.
Blessings, blessings. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, caller. Blessings.
Good night, Mr. Perry. At this step in my house and I hear you.
Yes.
Mr. Perry, this is good night first. Good night, Mr. Perry.
Good night.
This is the time Jamaicans must run out and demand that Christopher Tufton resign.
Must resign.
This is the time. If they make this one pass, then you know say something wrong with them. How them going to manage, Mr. Perry? How are they going to manage? Him can't fill the gap. Him can't. And the man mash up the health sector, you know. Privatize it privately, you know. Privately. The man privatized the health sector out there. Let me tell you something. They have to concede to the United States, to Trump. You know why?
Why?
And you have to. The amount of dirt and corruption that plaster the whole of Andrew Holness regime and him from head to toe. If him slip with the United States in a top slide, and him know so them are going to come to him, and him know why him do it too, why him concede with the United States, because him afraid, because them have a whole heap on him and not only him alone. So him have to concede to them.
I wonder if the CIA helped the Prime Minister to win the last election.
Everything is possible right now.
And he has to pay back homage to them in his decisions.
Anything is possible because the man not talk, no, you know, he might travel here and he might travel there. You don't know the reason for his traveling. He's not saying it.
Yes.
Something is radically wrong at the stage of Jamaica. And with these doctors that have given their heart, soul to Jamaica in healthcare. And you give them up? And you give them up? And if don't have any replacement? No replacement? People study and look for travel out of Jamaica. They're not taking the penny farthing. They're not taking it. And it can't stop them. I know people are good, you know. I know people are good, you know. And let me finish this and come out, Mr. Tufton. Mr. Perry. I would have money name still in my mouth for man. Mr. Perry. The man mash up the health sector, you know. Me ask myself if I saw them, I go make them go on and not charge them, investigate and charge them for these type of things that they have done. I saw them, I go allow it for go. What happened to the CID branch of the JCF to start the investigation? They not see the crisis in Jamaica right now because of these ministers, so-called honorable. So-called honorable. What a set of dirty people they are. And nasty in their character. No integrity and they no care. They don't care. They must be charged. And the people, they must start saying no. They must resign.
They must
resign. People start saying it, start beating the drum. They must resign. Please,
all right.
The 50 years. The 50 years, look how long. Mr. Perry, thank you.
Blessings, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a critical thinker. And I did my research. It's not the first time we've seen. Well, let me be very clear. What is factual, because it is in the files. It came out, big information. It's no speculation. The CIA aided the Jamaica Labour Party during Edward Seaga's time to destabilize the Jamaican economy, to destabilize the Manly movement, to ensure that Jamaica did not align with Cuba. History has a way of repeating itself. I am just asking Ricardo Bacchus. And I hear a person saying, congratulations, Perry. That's because the Jonathan Gant High School whip up the until again in school challenge quiz. Moving on to the next one. We have to go to finals. History has a way of repeating itself. We know that the CIA intervened in the Manly movement and to derail the entire country. So they sent a CIA operative We're not talking about Mr. Golding not being born in Jamaica. Well, we know. Say Edward Siaga never born out here. White man come straight down here out of CIA. And they destroyed the country. Because if Jamaica aligned too close to Cuba, it wouldn't have served the interest of the United States of America. I wonder if that's the reason why the administration of today, they have to pay their dues. Because when the United States of America reminds them of what they did for the Jamaica Labour Party years gone by, they have no choice but to be very, very indifferent and apathetic towards the concerns of the Cuban government. I wonder if that's the reason why they had to end that 50-year-old agreement between Jamaica and the Cuban government. Now I'm starting to wonder, how did a country who was ready to vote in a new government on September 3rd, all of a sudden, it was very clear that Jamaica was ready for change. People were ready to see Mr. Mark Golding as the next Prime Minister of Jamaica. The policies were very sound. The manifesto was solid. The momentum was with the PNP. I am just asking, could it be, ladies and gentlemen, that the Trump administration had something to do with the very, very, very unexpected win of the Jamaica Labour Party? And because of that, they have no choice but to serve the interests of the imperialist power. And that is just a question. That is just a question. And it's a reasonable question. We've seen it before. We've seen it before. Now I wonder, where all of the funding came from. Because you better believe money was spent last year during the election. These are questions that we must ask ourselves. But ladies and gentlemen, it is a very sad day in our country. Cuba is next on the agenda, says Donald Trump. And you know what Cuba is doing right now? They are calling out this incompetent administration. They are calling out the weak jellyback government that we have today. That they have bowed to the pressures of the United States of America. Call it what it is, Cuba. When we call it out, them say our politics we are playing. When we call it out, them say our politics. Call it what it is, Cuba. Michael Manley is turning in his grave. Fidel Castro them becks like a bull. I could never be a Labourite. I could never. Look at what the Jamaica Labour Party has done. They've destroyed a very important diplomatic relationship that accounted for some of the successes that we've seen over the many years. My God.
Me ever fresh, me no green. Me coulda never green, dog. Me no chow chow. No. Ha 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 ho ho. Who you know?
Remember that the CIA is everywhere, you know. The CIA has the potential to infiltrate any government right across the world. I wouldn't be surprised if we have CIA operatives in this administration. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that there are operatives, but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. It's not far-fetched. The CIA have they have the potential of planting seeds everywhere. They're watching us right now. Hey, they have all the technology. They shut down what they want to shut down. But listen to what I'm gonna say, and I'm heading out. But on a more serious note, this administration destroys everything that they touch. They've destroyed the NHT. I know persons saying, but Perry, the NHT is still active. The National Housing Trust, it is fundamentally destroyed. They've destroyed the National Housing Trust. They've plunged Jamaicans backwards, probably 10 steps backwards from no progress at all. It's not as if Jamaica was moving in any good direction over the 10 years. So we've not moved any at all. And we are already 10 steps backwards. They are going to be imposing new taxes. They have been breaching procurement guidelines and regulations. The Prime Minister came out and said that it is bureaucratic and too much bureaucracy. Hold on, Bolo calling me. Bolo!
Hey.
Blessings, bro.
Why I'm compelled to call in, man.
Yes,
it's a very serious conversation.
Yes, it is.
We're browsing the potential of who could be influencing, the movements of the Jamaica Labour Party. But I think one of the most biggest influence is one that some people are afraid to call. I believe the influence that I'm about to share is the same influence influencing the America in their decisions. And that is Israel.
Yes.
That is Israel. I mean, Jonas is the first leader to go to Israel. Uninvited. And even until this day, we do not know the intricacies of what that meeting and dialogue was about. And remember, the companies in Jamaica from Israel and where they are operating. You have to look into these things. Isn't the election one of those companies was involved in?
Yes.
The Israel company? I'm just saying, we have to look at the signs, ladies and gentlemen, and do our own digging.
Yes.
We have them said doctors don't. Didn't some people from Israel come for relief for Jamaica? Where are they? What are they doing? Where are they located? They have carried what? They have carried some counselors. I remember Miss Dora the Explorer mentioned some counselors to counsel our children.
Yes.
What role are they playing in our society? And why is it so? Why is it not more transparent?
Exactly.
You understand? Why we're not seeing it in the news? We have to think about these things. We're living in a very tenuous time in Jamaica, and a lot of them things say them are friends, until they are no more useful. I gotta leave you.
Exactly. Big up, Bolo. Big up.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a very serious conversation, Let me tell you something about the CIA. Oh, God. Let me tell you something. It is very interesting. Listen to this. The relationship between the CIA and Israel is one of the closest intelligence partnerships in the world. If you get close to Israel, you get close to the CIA. The US intelligence community, especially the Central Intelligence Agency, works very closely with Israel's main intelligence service, the Mossad. You ever watch them movies and hear them talk about the Mossad? Alright. The CIA and the Mossad share large amounts of intelligence. This includes information on terrorist organizations, nuclear weapons programs, Middle East military developments, cyber threats. For example, they have worked together to monitor countries like Iran, Syria, Iraq. Israel has strong intelligence networks in the Middle East to the US, benefits from Israel's regional access. They've done joint operations When you talk about technology and cyber cooperation, could it, I'm just asking this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just asking this. Huh? Could it be that we've seen? No man, ladies and gentlemen, don't think CIA is one of them look pian something there. Trump can't come and dismantle CIA. CIA bigger than Trump. People need to understand. People need to understand. CIA is not no joke thing. But I'm gonna say this before I go. Could it be, ladies and gentlemen, that Jamaica has bowed to powers that we have no clue about? And when we think that it is Jamaica who is making our decisions for the best interest of Jamaica, if you should check the unseen hand, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised to see who is the one pulling the strings and calling the shots. And I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen, with Cuba calling out, Andrea Berg not happy that my school beat Dintel. Well, big up Dintel, but I want Jonathan Grant. Hush, Andrea Berg, hush. With all of this happening, we've seen this administration, they have destroyed our diplomatic relationship with Cuba. They have destroyed the NHT. They have destroyed the standard of living in this country. New taxes will be coming on the people of this nation. All of that will be happening. And persons are going to tell me that this is the best administration. These are unprecedented times. It had to be the Andrew Holness-led administration to destroy the diplomatic relationship with Cuba. So sad. But ladies and gentlemen, we're still praying and we're asking the Lord to help us. What next? What next? What next? Let us pray. Father, we give you thanks for your mercies. We give you thanks for your grace. We give you thanks, mighty God, for life. And we give you thanks for your tender mercies. Lord, when we look at our country and what is happening in our Caribbean region, when we look at what is happening on the international scene, we must pray. Jamaica is going down a very dark path. Yes, there are those who may want to deny it because of blind political loyalty. But the proof is there. The facts, they are so ever before us as to how Jamaica has been missing the mark significantly. And in the end, it's only one set of people who are left to face all of these repercussions. And it is the poor. It is the most vulnerable. Well, Lord, we're asking for wisdom. We're still praying for the government and we're praying for the opposition. We're praying for the senators, the MPs. We're praying for the technocrats, the experts, because, Lord, when we look at our country today, danger is ahead. These and other mercies we're asking for you, of you. We're asking, Lord, that you will touch our children. We saw that young man losing his life. Lives are being lost, certainty. The region is tense. Global tensions. The stakes are high. Poor governance is the order of the day. We ask for your divine intervention. And we ask for it now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We're praying. Bolo, you wanted to say something else? Because I was about to go. Let me call you back. You wanted to say something? We have to pray, ladies and gentlemen. Look at what is look at what is happening. Let me call you back. I'm calling you back, Bolo. Yes.
I never realized it was praying. I reached that point, so sorry.
That's
but thanks for calling me back. In terms of Jamaica's reputation with Cuba, I want to take it a step further for us. I think Jamaica has destroyed their relationship globally.
Of course, yes.
Because how would another country look at Jamaica based off how they have dealt with Cuba and how Cuba have dealt with them?
And trust them to
trust them to, you understand? To go to certain. I mean, look at even Venezuela, how they deal with Venezuela. Venezuela helped us at a time when we were really in a bind.
That's true. Exactly.
You understand? So I mean, in a normal setting, let's say we are people in a community, and another person see how you deal with somebody that they consider to be your brother based off how you dealt with each other, and then you stab them in the back like that. The world must be looking at Jamaica as the scum at it. Yo, man, I tell you, say, reputation gone to hell under this administration. I just thought about it when I was listening to you. I said, what? So hold on, it's not just Cuba alone.
Everybody,
the entire
world,
supposed to look at Jamaica
because they know of the history between Jamaica and Cuba, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's sad.
Because I'm from the outside looking in. You understand? And I say, well, if they can do that to Cuba, what do they do to us?
Exactly. Wow.
My God, man, boy, really bad turn. Because myself here, brother. Look on.
Yeah, man, blessings. Wow. You know how much things Cuba do for Jamaica? You know, it's, hey, you see international relations, very important for us to study and understand the dynamics of relationships across states. But Jamaica don't understand what they did. They don't understand what they did. They don't understand what they've done. Well, the Jamaican Labour Party. Listen, it is sad. For decades, Cuba has provided free scholarships for Jamaican students. Many Jamaicans have gone to Cuba to study medicine, engineering, sports, science, nursing. Thousands of Caribbean doctors trained in Cuba at institutions like the Latin American School of Medicine. These graduates have returned to help Jamaica's healthcare system. I believe somebody in the chat said that their daughter is currently in Cuba studying medicine. When you talk about healthcare support, Cuba is famous worldwide for sending doctors abroad. Cuban medical teams have worked in Jamaica through cooperation programs with the Cuban Medical Brigade. They have helped underserved rural communities, hospitals facing staff shortages, public health programs. When I talk about infrastructure and construction, Cuba has assisted Jamaica with technical expertise and construction. Cuban engineers and workers have been involved in projects such as schools, and we could name many schools that Cuba built. I heard G.C. Foster, I heard Jose Marti, and you could name others. I know a lot of you guys, the older folks especially, can remind me. I believe even the Jonathan Grant. Had some Cuban help when you talk about sports facilities and all of that. Right? When you talk about cultural and sports influence, Mona High School, Cuba has influenced Jamaica culturally through athletics cooperation, boxing and sports training, music and culture. We could go on and on. Regional solidarity. Jamaica played an important diplomatic role in helping Cuba reconnect with the Caribbean. In 1972, case in Portland, Jamaica and other Caribbean states recognized Cuba despite pressure from the United States. Back then, in 1972, Jamaica was one of those countries who stood up to the United States of America, though Cuba was being pressured. And look at what the Angie Holness-led administration has done today. Look at what the Jamaica Labour Party has done. You've destroyed our country. You've destroyed our nation. You've destroyed our country and our diplomatic ties. How will the region? How will the region respond to this when they see how Jamaica has turned their backs on Cuba? It is sad. It is sad. Ladies and gentlemen, this should have been it. This should have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Garvey, Masayo, even Dintil, Georgia Linton, all of those schools. Cuba do that. How many of our children have passed through these schools to become movers and shakers in society? Somebody said that my niece is on her final year in Cuba. But you know, labor rights don't care. They don't care. They don't love Jamaica. They love their political party, and that's the problem. They don't love Jamaica. Sidney Fagan School in St. Elizabeth was built by Cuba. We should have all protested Ardeen Henry. Look at how much impact Cuba has had on this country. Now with Cuba coming out to say, confirming that Jamaica's yielded, the Jamaica's bowed. Sorry Cuba, it's not every Jamaican bow, but it's just that we have an administration and has no backbone. It is the Jamaica Labour Party that has done that, Cuba. I'm sorry if you believe that it is the entire country that is siding with this administration. It's not the entire country. It is a few incompetent leaders in the government. It is the propaganda machinery of the Jamaica Labour Party. They have yielded to the United States pressure. It's not every Jamaican. This should have been it. Jamaica should have come to, because this is affecting everybody. Both labor rights and PNP supporters will be affected by this. We will all be affected. Health affects everybody. Health affects everybody. And with 277 doctors being pulled from our healthcare system, with a 50-year agreement coming to an end as well, under this administration, Jamaica should have put their political differences aside and said this is a free train, no brakes, and the cliff is up on the horizon, and we're going 200 miles per hour non-stop going down the cliff. And the labor rights, they have put their political party over the interest, the best interest of this country. You're all a threat to our democracy. You're a threat to Jamaica. You're a threat to our children. You're a threat to the progress and the development of this country. That is my perspective. That is my perspective. That is my perspective. Tonight we'll be praying midnight cry. You can join me at 11:59 p.m. Clearly we have a lot of things to talk about. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Remember that on Saturdays we are taking calls from the beginning of the program. So tomorrow at 6 p.m. we take calls straight throughout the show. Wow, the JLP has destroyed this country. This administration, they've destroyed our country. But we're keeping hope alive. The best is yet to come. See you soon. Bye-bye.
The perspective with Perry Cummings Jr. Dig up yourself. The best is yet to come. This is my perspective. Telling you my perspective. is my perspective to bring change that I feel me objective. Scandal after scandal, look where Jamaica come to. Them a rob the money and a thief a lot too. Election tactics, what a disgrace. Them cut off ribbon and the place no safe. It's a prime minister, are you me a address? Police a kill off the youth if you check. Talking about the way country are the best. But though this is my perspective, telling you my perspective. This is my perspective.